Hello everyone, Mr. Mueller here. I hope things are going well with you. Hope you're healthy and you're safe. You're not too stir crazy from being inside. But again, I'm thinking about you. I miss y'all, and just like I say, be healthy, be safe. These are the first notes I'm sending out. Now, I will post these in Google Classroom. I'm going to limit them to about 7 minutes per video so they don't get too long, so that if you need to, you can go and watch one video or watch parts of a video, and there'll be videos with the notes, there'll be videos with the examples, and basically how I'm going to label them is by chapter, by section number. So this would be chapter 9, section 2 in the book. It doesn't matter if you got a white book, blue book. I will, by the way, post the problems online, so if you do not have a book, I will post the problems from the blue book online. And then I'll go an episode number. So episode 1, for instance, would be, the first video. Episode 2E2 would be the second video, so you can watch them in order. And finally, behind I'll put whether it's notes, whether it's a specific example. And by the way, again, the examples, I will put them online and so forth. I'll make a copy for each of you, or if you want to, you can just do them on pencil paper, take any notes. And as we're doing this, if you want to sit through and read something, or take a note on something, go ahead and just pause the video. I probably won't tell you every time to pause it, but if you feel like you need to review something, rewind it, go back, pause it if you need to look through something. But basically this will be notes and the examples we've done in class. So I'll keep this as close to what we did in class as possible. So this one will be labeled Chapter 9, Section 2, Episode number 1. So how it'll look, again, it'll look something like this. Chapter 9, Section 2, Episode 1 in Google Classroom. Then I'll just put notes behind it. And probably would be something like pyramids, because that's what we're going to talk about for this particular set of notes. We are not going to do frustums. Those we were going to do if we were still in class, but we're just going to look at pyramids right now. All right, so here we go. The objectives are the same as they were for prisms. We're going to identify solid figures, looking at specifically here pyramids. And again, we're not going to look at frustums. We're going to look at lateral area and total surface area like we did with prisms, and we're going to also look at volume. And then we're going to end with some practical problems. So what is a pyramid? Well, if you remember when you looked at prisms, ladies and gentlemen, had 2 bases. And then, good picture. So a prism, remember, had 2 bases, and then it had 4 rectangles, which were the lateral faces, and I got to draw on one of the edges back here, that made up the lateral area. So these 4 rectangles on the sides made up the lateral area. Well, with a pyramid only has 1 base. And as I've drawn here, this would be a pentagonal base. This would be a square base or a rectangular base. So those are the bases of the pyramid. And a pyramid only has 1 base, as I said before. Now, the side, or what's opposite of that base is called the apex, or a point, right here. And the lateral faces, and I'll just read through this. A pyramid is a solid object with 1 base and 3 or more lateral faces that taper to a single point opposite the base. Okay, so your lateral faces here, ladies and gentlemen, are all triangles. They're not rectangles like they were with a prism. So again, these lateral triangles meet at the apex. So again, some differences between a prism and a pyramid. A prism has 2 bases and 4 rectangular lateral faces. A pyramid has 1 base, which it's named by, and the lateral faces are all triangles. All right? that meet at the apex. Now, a right pyramid is one whose base is a regular polygon, meaning all the sides are the same length, and whose apex is centered over the base. Now, a couple parts that you're going to need to know about these pyramids that are going to help us to be able to use the formulas in which to find the lateral area, the total surface area, and the volume, are the altitude. Now, in a pyramid, the altitude is the distance from the base perpendicular to the apex. Again, it has to be perpendicular. It has to form a right angle with the base. Okay? That's the altitude. It goes, it's like, think of like a tent. It's the post at the center of the base of the tent that holds the sides of the tent up at a single point. Now, the slant height is the distance from an edge on the base up along the lateral face to the apex. So whereas the altitude goes from it's inside the pyramid, in a right pyramid, it goes from the center up to the apex. The slant height goes from an edge of the base all the way up the lateral face, that triangle, to the apex. And altitude is usually given with the letter H, represented by the letter H. Slant height is usually represented by the letter S. Okay? All right, I told you these videos were going to be more than 7 minutes, so we're going to end this part of the notes, and we're going to come back, and on the next video, episode number 2, we're going to look at the rest of the notes, which shouldn't take too long.